All right. Broadcast week 4. This is Gabriel Blythe, or Gabe. I feel like after having like 4 brief, one-sided conversations, you can call me Gabe. We know each other, right? I mean, we have so much in common. I'm talking out loud, and the others... That's right. I decided on a name. I'm not sold on it, but we're workshopping it. The others don't talk out loud. And if you're talking out loud, or recognize what I am saying, but you can't speak, I should learn King Sign to communicate. Well, damn. I just realized, what if you can't hear me? Well, now I feel kind of bad. I may have to think of a way to get more people to recognize that they aren't alone. Maybe a fire or something. Lights flashing. Lights make more sense, but that could be a drain on power, but it's cleaner and more reusable than a fire would be, and just constantly burning things. I'm working on not going on my weird thought tangents. I'm working on it. But I'll get some lights or something so you can actually see me just as well as you're able to hear me. So, remember last time I was talking about this trepidation I had of taking food? That there has to be consequences, right? That there's going to be these consequences that follow us, right? But the way that I see it, I'm 8 weeks in. I've been all around the valley and haven't seen any one person who will have some sort of recognition of me, of them, of the situation as I pass them. And since the power has been out since after the first few days, when everything hit the fan, not just the crap, I figure no power means no recording devices. Sound logic, Gabe. I agree. So, I decided I'd make a few stops. But there's a caveat here. I totally thought about power and electricity working in some ways and not others. I'll explain. So I'm walking into a big box store. First thing I notice is the smell. There were a few of the others walking around, but they haven't been smelling at all. The ones I've really taken a close look at, no smell. Other than, some BO at times. So I knew it wasn't them. But you know what I never thought about? All the fruit and the vegetables just rotting away. It was like mush. 2 months or so of just sitting there and not being purchased and bagged in someone's icebox. It got bad. There were so many flies. So many flies. I remember in school reading about how one makes a hypothesis and whatnot. And this one guy, don't remember his name, wanted to test if flies were in meat. Because forever ago, they thought flies were just in your steak, and over time, they just hatched in your meat. Imagine being willing to eat food, thinking, well, there's already bugs in it. What? Anyways, this guy, he takes 2 pieces of meat and puts one in a container and the other out, and he leaves them both out. And after a week of leaving the meat out, again, gross. The one left out, flies everywhere. And the one sealed, surprise, surprise, no flies. I have no idea why I remember this so clearly. Anyways, That was one piece of meat, right? A single cut of a steak. Not a whole section of veggies. But, and I think you know where I'm going with this, I turned to the butcher. And all that individually wrapped meat, the lamb, the pork, chicken, it was all brown and just revolting. It was just disgusting to see all of that rotting in that clear plastic. But for the most part, everything was wrapped up, so it wasn't Fly Town. The smell wasn't that much better, though. You could smell the fish from the back. I went there on Sunday. That was 3 days ago, and this smell hasn't left me. The smell of rotted veggies and age-old fish. And no, I didn't go back to go look at the fish. So, in forgetting that things need to be chilled, and to do that, it requires electricity, but remembering at the same time, security cameras and footage also use electricity, I think kind of means one less point for me, Gabe, and his ability to creatively think about the outside world. But there is still a lot of canned goods, which is good news, as well as a few freeze-dried things and things that were in the icebox for a while. Even though the power was out, a lot of those iceboxes still had a decent amount of cold to them. I was really impressed. Some things, of course, kept better than not, and if it was near the back, where it was once an ice block, you know, where all the ice just kind of builds up and builds up and builds up, that was even better. It probably helps that some kid wasn't opening and closing the fridge thinking that there's going to be food in there eventually. That totally wasn't me as a kid. Or even now. I feel like, after so long, I should be making progress. The others, they're still aimless. I walk up to them, and they act like the Zed movies. But there's no violence. They grunt and they groan and they shuffle around. Some are walking on the streets. Most are walking on the streets. I can see in the windows of flats and homes that are there, and I can see people shuffling around. And it's almost like that Christmas movie, you know, where the kid uses cardboard figures to make it seem like there's a party or something going on inside. But it kind of just gets my hopes up. They seem thin and pale. Of course I try and talk to them. See if I can get a response. Anything, really. You know, grunt if you can hear me. And then nothing. If I just talk out loud, like this, and they go nuts, sometimes grunting and wailing. Still, no violence. No aggression. Just that making noise. For the sake of making noise, maybe. Maybe they're tired of hearing me speak so much. But you're stuck with me. Sorry about that, friend. Maybe I should start walking into the homes. You know? Maybe you are stuck inside. The big event knocked things over in your path. And you've been stuck inside for 8 weeks. I hope you have enough supplies to last till I get to you. What happened? What happened to all of you? Why isn't this some stereotypical bull? Like, why isn't there a group of survivors who band together and run to the IKCDC and find a cure? Or is this the other half of that kind of story? Not every princess was saved from her tower kind of thing. Did I just compare myself to a princess? Oh, king and country. I am sorry. I am so sorry. Give me a minute. Okay. Whew. Yeah, I mean, it's still kind of depressing, but at the same time. But, and it's a big but here, I am doing okay so far. Just because I'm alone doesn't mean that this is hopeless, you know? I'm sure there is a band of scientists or a troop of people with an escort mission to get to MI6 to deliver the cure. And of course, there's going to be tough sacrifices, and they'll meet evil cannibals. But by the nights, no one is going to die on my watch. So dumb. A little macabre, yes. But my point is, you aren't alone. And you don't have to stay alone. I am thinking about moving away from the stadium. I mentioned it last time. Did I mention it last time? Maybe the college. There's a college up a few blocks. But in the meantime, I will be there at the stadium tomorrow, midday to sundown. Maybe even with a fire this time. And being more visible would be a good idea in general. Just in case if you aren't visiting me because you think it's all a ploy for my cannibal farm I've started. That was a joke to the thing from earlier. Ugh, Lord. Gabe, you are the worst. Sorry. Maybe I'll see you tomorrow. I'll put this message on repeat until I get a response. And I'll, of course, monitor all frequencies as often as I can. Good luck out there. Whoever you are, wherever you are. You aren't alone.